said before, I worked for 23 years and I've basically always worked all my life. This is the longest I've ever been on assistance, and it's making me feel like that the first time I need help, that I'm actually been going down on my hands and knees and saying, would you please help me? I need some kind of help, some kind of assistance, and it's making me feel like, well, what are you down here for? There's plenty of jobs out there, go and get one.
I mean, there's no jobs to go to, you know what I mean? I think people would like a job instead of going to the adult centre.
There's extremely little. I've never had so much difficulty trying to find something, anything. Generally, when I would be coming to the end of one of my, previous temporary, but however long placements, I would have been looking around and I would be looking for a quality post ongoing or a something, anything. At the moment, I can't even locate or secure a something, anything kind of job.
I applied for quite a few jobs, but you're not getting no answers, half of them. So
I'm constantly applying, and you frequently get that demoralising thing where you put in a very good application, you don't even get an acknowledgement.
For instance, I'm looking from a mother's point of view. She's disabled and she's a pensioner. They're asking her to go and do voluntary work 3 days a week.
Well, I tried to get in through step-ups to work through chefing. It didn't go out the plan. I walked out because the person tried to get me to work weekends, and I'm not meant to be working weekends.
They sent me on a course doing web design, which was pretty much a disaster. I've got a degree in art, and they sent me to do a qualification which was the equivalent of about two GCSEs.
Being used, it's more like she's just on one of them programs. That's the impression I got. So it was, I just got on with it.
They're just looking slave labour, to be honest with you. They want you to work 40 hours a week for about 60p an hour. It's the government, they're probably on about £50 an hour, but we're not. They're just looking us to basically work for free. That's what I'm putting it down as.
Oh, the benefits of it. The job centre.
I would much prefer to have teeth extracted. It's just a very demoralising experience, no matter how you do.
Like that building over there is not fit for purpose even, you know what I mean? The very welfare building, like a social security office, is like a barnyard over there. And it's just unwelcoming and intimidating for people who maybe haven't been there before.
And I was sent to see a big doctor. When I got there, it was a nurse. Asked me a few questions. Next thing, I got a phone call about 3 days later to say that I was put off incapacity and onto job seekers allowance. I had a heart attack on the 1st of April 2007. I suffer with diabetes, high blood pressure, angina, arthritis, and I take 43 tablets a day. I've just been to the doctors this morning. I've now got something wrong with my waterworks, and I'm on another 3 tablets, which gives me 45 tablets a day. Even when I went to sign on for the first time, the fellow looked at my record, he started laughing. He said, "You have no chance of getting a job." The trouble is, I'm 61 this year, so who's going to employ someone 61 years of age, been on the sick for the past 7 years with all these ailments? There's no one going to take me on ever.
It's not more than a bit of a joke, isn't it? Like, welfare reform, it just means, a fancy word or name, isn't it, for them cutting people's money again? Why don't you just come clean out and say, we're cutting your money? It's the people in the worst sort of situations, again, that are being affected.
The cuts are affecting me in a big way. I'm only working part-time and my tax credits have already been cut. My wee girl is in a nursery and I'm already finding it hard enough having to pay for after schools. So I'm thinking to myself, how am I meant to survive now? They're being cut even more, including housing benefit. There's cuts to everything, and I know I'm not the only one, but I'm worried for me and my child's welfare.
Well, the sacrifices are, as I was saying, it's sometimes if you run out of heating before your next allowance, you just have to go without heating. Or else you have to, you're talking about you can't put a value on having a proper meal or even a normal life. You're meant to sit in your house. You're not meant to have no outside life at all. You can't afford to do anything. You can't afford to go anywhere. So you've got the choice of either eating or hate, or you're relying on family and friends and the goodness of our nature to help you out. Then you have to pay that all back once you get your next benefits.
It's going to get harder and harder because I have a 2-bedroom flat and now they're going to start charging me for the spare room.
Sure, it's going to make things worse. A lot worse, you know. People are already on a tight budget and it's going to get even tighter, and, you know, from going to doing without things now, you're going to be doing without a lot more, you know.
Oh yes, definitely, you know what I mean, with the cuts, you know, it's going to end up, you know, fuel poverty, you know, people not going to afford food and things like that, you know what I mean, but just living in the breadline.
Because the time you get your groceries and then heating and things like that, and your electric and things like that, no, they don't give you enough to live on at all. You're only living beyond your means.
Well, it's more to do for me travelling. Like, I'm originally from Tyrone, so getting up and down to home's not that easy when there isn't enough money, but it's a luxury that I just have to do without sometimes. I don't get to see them, and certain things I can't attend because of it. You know, like family parties and stuff, I can't go down because I can't afford it.
I just want to get a Christmas home there now, £22. I have no heating and no gas, so it looks like I'm going to either have to starve and keep warm, or freeze and eat. I'm going to have to just wrap myself up in blankets and eat food because I have to eat.
The cost of heating oil has rocketed, and sometimes I don't have oil because I have to sacrifice the oil to buy extra food or buy other things that I need, or pay bills or electric or travel, and the oil sometimes doesn't get got. Everybody's just going to suffer. Everybody's getting cut, education and health and all the rest of it, so it's going to have an impact on everybody.
I was doing a course on Maths and English GCSE, and I was doing a course on chefing. It was due 3 months, and because I left the chefing job, it took me off my benefits and took me off my Maths and English GCSE course. So I'm not really happy with what they're doing here. Like, I've done a status to work course here with Cancer Lifeline, and I didn't get a job at the end of it. That's me signing back on again.
Most recently had been with the Big Lottery Fund in a job I particularly enjoyed, doing grant management, grant application assessment. Before that I was with BBC doing the same thing for about 5 months. Lovely stint for the same length of time before that in the Consumer Council. And prior to that I had a series of as long as possible engagements as I could in various companies, literally earning money to feed my children, support them at uni and do all of the normal, front my life and do all of the normal things.
Well, I just lost my job there recently. I was working Yodel delivery, but before that I was unemployed for a load of months. Like,
again, merchant, hotel, Malone House, Norbert and Dressing, Pizza Paradise, and for Christmas time I was Apollo Road Tesco warehouse. It was a picker job, but it was for Christmas time. Good money, you know, but I don't have many English language experience, so they don't need for me, and that's it.
Generally on the building sites as a painter and a bit of sign writing in it.
A call centre work. I was doing building site before that.
I was cleaning ovens, but I'm a fabricator by trade, welder fabricator by trade, you know. Haven't had a welding fabricating job in 5 years.
I would look for a proper, wholesale, challenging redistribution of resources.
So surely you should put more effort into helping people instead of just giving them a meagre allowance to live on.
Get all them out and get people like us, good people, into their jobs, and let them see how it feels to be on the brew.
Basically more the construction business, we should be helping out, building more houses. Well, like me, who's living on a hustle.
Don't want to slip down the road of dehumanising people by saying we'll give you vouchers instead of money. But what about vouchers as well as money?
Bankers, they need sorted out something serious, and their fancy holidays and whatnot and pay rises, they're just a joke.
I need to survive, like, and a proper wage is what I need, so hopefully I get one. It's out there somewhere.
I think we could maybe do more schemes and more opportunities.
The government putting money in to help people out of their situation instead of just basically cutting and cutting and cutting. Give people work schemes. Give them something in their community that'll help them instead of just people living from week to week or 2 weeks to 2 weeks on assistance. Create something in society for them and give them a bit of hope instead of making them realise that you're going down, you're just asking for money. And I don't see the point in that there. It just creates the whole dilemma of what we're going through at the minute.
If they would take people from long-term unemployment and help them learn a trade, the young people, because these jobs are going to, I mean, they're building off the Lower Shankill, they're building off the Garwood Park, they're talking about 10 years to build these places. If it's going to take 10 years, they could end up doing a couple of apprentices for each trade at each of those locations and think nothing of it.
Well, we've got to stick it up to the politicians, don't we? We've got to, let them know that this isn't on. Like people can't live like this, and they need to do something about it. Why is it that they're happy enough out there when they're canvassing for people's votes, but once they get in, they don't seem to care. They seem to forget about the people that got them there in the first place.